Good evening, everybody. We are. It is, of course, the Fruit Nut News on, today, which is, of course, Friday, the 14th of the 8th, 2026. Now, remember, of course, the 15th is tomorrow, which, of course, is Moi's birthday. Very interesting. I'm going to go through a little few things that have just happened, actually, and it actually really does make you wonder what is actually going on. Anyway, very interesting. So, good evening, everyone. We're all okay. 14th, Friday the 14th. It is, of course, 1937. And, of course, it's a lovely and nice and warm day today. We were supposed to have rain, but I think that doesn't seem to have appeared. Very, very interesting. Anyway, what have we got for you tonight? So, most of you will, by now, have gone through some kind of a severe weather warning, an emergency alert for severe weather, for severe fires, etc., etc. I have to be honest, this is, of course, the first one that I have literally received. Now, from the coverage of the UK, it appears that I would say a good 85% of the UK was covered. So, what can we assume from this? Now, of course, there are people, the naysayers, of course, and all that kind of stuff, and the doom and gloomers and all that kind of stuff. They're saying that it's conditioning, ready for this, that, and the other. Now, of course, I want you to remember that we are in the transition from 3D reality, as we know it, into a brand new, different type of reality with different rules, different ideas, different things. One of those ideas in 5D, of course, is that you don't have any politicians. Some people might find this very difficult to understand, but you have what we class as, or so should I say, I class as ambassadors. An ambassador is a person that represents a country in many different forms. You can have an ambassador of health, so to speak. Nothing like the paid politicians that we've got at the moment, who are simply run by the global elite. They are paid for. Whether you want to believe that or not is entirely up to you. I don't really give a shit. You can believe exactly what you want. If you want to believe that we're all about to die tomorrow, that's entirely up to you. If you want to believe that the New World Order is running the show, well, that, of course, is entirely up to you. There is, of course, plenty of evidence to suggest that the New World Order is not in control, and there is plenty to suggest that the bad forces, or should we say the evil idiots, have basically been taken care of, especially the ones at the top. The governmental people, or should we say the government, the people that are very, 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 very low down the chain of command. Of course, we're talking about the police, we're talking about authorities, we're talking about councils, we're talking about councillors, politicians, judges, etc. These people are way, way down when it comes to the New World Order. Don't be under any illusion. Politicians are about on par with street level, to be honest, in regards to a pyramid. So imagine that pyramid spans from street level right the way up to, let's say, 50, 60,000 feet. That's roughly where politicians are. So, emergency alert gone off. Could it be a test for the emergency alert? Yes, it could be. Could it be telling us that things are about to get hot? Yes, it could be. It's all a question, of course, of what you believe. And so I'm not here to convince you either way. It's entirely up to you. I mean, I don't mind. It's no skin off my nose, whatever it is you believe, because this is what I know. Whatever's going to happen is going to happen. Okay, whether or not whether or not you want to class that as good, or whether or not you want to class that as bad, it's definitely going to happen. There is definitely something happening. Okay, and you can view it however you wish. So, Jason contacted me earlier today, probably about 10 minutes ago, to be fair, and we went through some very quick things, which is quite interesting. This was in regards to the alert system that's just gone off. Now, I want to take you back, okay? I want to take you back to, of course, one of my lives a couple of days ago, which was basically taking Michael out of Donald Trump's hair, and of course Donald Trump's mane. And this could have been a military comm telling us that the main event was coming. Very interesting. And I did a little skit on it, talking about the fact that, Donald Trump's new hairspray at $150 was basically going to increase your hair growth by 88.8% growth, which, of course, is the numbers, of course, as you well know, of the Back to the Future film. Okay. And so it was all done very random by me. I don't plan these events. I just do them, and whatever pops into my head. And Jason reminded me that he did some gematria on big hair. So when we talk about Donald Trump, we're talking about big hair in this situation. So big hair in gematria equals 54, which means, okay, code red. 54 in gematria means code red. It also means EBS. Now, remember that Donald Trump appeared with big hair and a mane, okay, in regards to this a few days ago, okay. Then it's just dawned on me, okay. It's just dawned on me that the mainstream media, of course, okay, have been very focused over the last couple of days on the solar eclipse. Now, as you well know, many people looked to the sky for the solar eclipse. Very interesting. I mean, they completely missed the chemtrails and the weather manipulation, but that's by the by. But mainstream media were focused on the solar eclipse. So everybody was looking to the sky. And a few moments ago, it came to me in a, I don't know what you would call it, a flash of inspiration, or just my brain being Mark Thacker, I don't know. I got the impression that watching the skies, why would we watch the skies? Look up, they said. Look up and watch the skies. Very interesting, very interesting. Now, if you believe certain things, you will know, of course, that above our head is water, apparently. Now, let me just expand on that. If water is above us, okay, in what we would class as some form of a dome, one of the main things about the Q Intel drops, or the Intel drops, is watch the fucking water. Now, when they say watch the water, are we talking about watching the water of the sea, or are we talking about watching the water above our heads, which happens to be above our heads? Okay, so it got me thinking about this quite a lot, and I'm still giving it some muse. And of course, as you well know, as above, so below. So below us, or in the ocean, is water. Above us is water too. As above, so below. Watch the water. Watch the skies. Everybody's been watching the skies yesterday, but were they actually watching the water? Which means that a few days ago, Donald Trump could have been telling us that the main event is coming. Okay. Today, of course, as you all know, is, of course, Friday. And it's always been said that on a Friday, my fellow Americans, the storm is upon us. And it also says, look to Twitter. Very, very interesting. Okay. Very, very interesting. Now, Intel drop 54 from the Q drops tells us, I know the plans I have for you. This is, of course, God talking. I know the plans I have for you. My plans require you to prosper and to not harm you. Hope and a future will be given to you. So this is quite interesting. This is Intel drop 54. Okay. 54, of course, as we've just discussed, means code red, EBS. Very interesting. Now, Intel drop 55 tells us that, my fellow Americans, the storm is upon us. This has always been deemed to be a Friday. 6 p.m. can be a dangerous time. Now, I don't know what's going to happen, and I'm not going to put my arse on the line and go, yep, today's the day. But it seems as though that there seems to be some very interesting communications going on. Now, of course, as you well know, Donald Trump was hiding in an ice cream van yesterday in regards to the Iranian attack. Now, apparently Israel decided that they were going to scare Donald Trump by issuing an Iranian warning. So this, of course, made Donald take evasive action in regards to Air Force One and the Iranian threat, which was very interesting. Now, what's not been very well reported is, of course, that Washington, D.C., a couple of days ago, they rejected Israel's situation over Lebanon. This, of course, is the invasion of Lebanon by Israeli forces. So Washington, D.C. rejected Israel's demands over Lebanon. Okay? Over Lebanon. Okay? Now, which means that Washington, D.C. is supporting Lebanon in their claim for Lebanese lands, okay, and not supporting Israel. Now, that must have pissed off Netanyahu, and so that would more than likely lead to the lies that Israel told in regards to Iran, about the assassination attempt on Donald Trump. Once again, we have Israel blaming Iran for an assassination attempt, which may or may not have taken place, etc., etc. So that's very, very interesting for people to remember on, of course, the world stage. Okay. Now, it's always been said that Israel is going to be last. Now, what do we know about Israel? Well, we know that Israel is running the UK, or should we say the UK runs Israel, amongst many other countries, okay? So could we be on the verge, okay, could we be on the verge of the UK actually losing all of its so-called power completely? In regards to, of course, a military operation taking place, and of course arresting all the people, obviously, that have been orchestrated this massive coup in, of course, the British colonial situation. Now, of course, nobody in Westminster is trustworthy, and I do mean nobody. And so the latest bullshit coming out of Andy Burnham's mouth in regards to, single-use barbecues. I mean, it's just absolutely ridiculous. I mean, if you think that this is any way, shape or form, some form of political running the country, well, unfortunately, you are way off the mark of, of what's happening. And once again, for all the naysayers that are, strutting about and sticking the chests out and pretending that they're all big cocks, at the end of the day, you cannot dismiss the amount of information that is available, in order to suggest, and prove that, the colonial British rulers are basically destroyed. Now, the fact that Andy Burnham is doing what he's doing, to me personally, is of course a massive, green light, so to speak. To say that this is a pantomime, it's a show, it's a film, a movie, whatever you want to call it, because this stuff that's happening now, not only in politics, but of course with the migrant situation, etc., with the corruption that's going on, with Palantir, with every the collapse of Thames Water and all of the big organisations. This is not just a coincidence. This is a controlled demolition. And if you are able to see through the fog, if you are able to see the wood for the trees, you can actually, see what's going on. Now, of course, as we well know, okay, the UK and the EU and Israel and all those things are trying to still get this Russian war sorted out. The Ukrainian war is over. The Ukrainian war is ended, ladies and gentlemen. Whether or not you want to believe that is, of course, entirely up to you and dependent upon the brainwashing that you are under. But the Ukrainian war is finished. I don't care what you're watching on telly. I don't care what's being reported on the BBC. It's all absolute, utter bullshit. Okay. And I wanted to take you back. Okay. I wanted to take you back to the fact that each individual country, whether or not it's Russia, China, whether or not it's Korea, the USA, the UK, Israel, Lebanon, whatever, they all have their own cabal. They all have their own Illuminatis. They all have their own bad gang, so to speak, and they are all fighting their own corners. Okay. And, of course, let's go back to the football. Remember, Donald Trump did a world tour where he went around and he visited all kinds of different places, including Russia, including China, Korea, and he had a chat with people. And remember the football from Ukraine. Remember the fact that Donald Trump walked in front of the Queen. He also walked in front of the King, okay, of England. Unusual, I mean, we're talking transensional events. This never happens. Walking in. I mean, let's look at the death of the Queen. Remember the snapping of the rod, the snapping of the wand? Remember that? That was a symbolic gesture that all spells are broken and void. Okay? The spell is broken. And so all of these events, as we remember them, okay, and as we move forward, we can remember these events that took place, and we can remember another one was George Bush. Remember the letters? Remember the letters that were given out during George Bush's funeral? Remember Hillary Clinton being bundled into the back of a black Mariah? Remember that one? I think she'd just left a 9/11 memorial dinner. I mean, how apt is that to get arrested leaving a 9/11 memorial dinner when you have orchestrated and been part of the situation that brought about 9/11. Remember Tony Blair. Remember Dr. Kelly that disappeared and ended up dead. Okay? Weapons of mass destruction that were never found. Okay? Can you remember back in the day when Mark Thatcher, not me, Mark Thatcher, got into massive trouble over some oil fields in the 1980s, I think it was. They were going to drill on some native land, and the native people went absolutely nuts over it. And Mark Thatcher ended up getting destroyed. Very embarrassing. Remember Margaret Thatcher. Remember what Margaret Thatcher did to the mining industry. Remember what Margaret Thatcher did to the, to the dock workers. What she did to the trade unions. These are the trade unions that were basically, looking out for, workers' rights. Now, don't get me wrong, the trade unions got a bit carried away, you know, and they should have had people with a bit more common sense in charge. But that's not the point. Okay, the point is that the UK as a producing nation was basically destroyed because of privatization, because of globalism. Okay, you know, and once again, don't get me wrong, nationalised industry was a bit of a piss take, to be honest. I witnessed it during my power station days as a contractor. It was a bit of a piss take. However, you know, there was 20 white-coated men walking around with clipboards. I mean, this is well before the woke organisation. There was 20 men walking around in white coats who apparently were some kind of a writing force. And then, of course, there was the workers, the boiler-suited workers. And there was this segregation between the white boiler suits and, of course, the blue boiler suits. There was different dining times and all this bollocks that used to go off. Okay. And of course, yeah, it's all very, very interesting. Anyway, now, Alex Quinn, my friend Alex Quinn, did a fantastic presentation on, of course, the solar eclipse and the effects of the solar eclipse. And, of course, we have another one, apparently. I didn't know this, but we have another one on the 31st of August. And he went on to explain how the solar eclipse of the 12th was simply a pebble in the ocean that was pebble in a pond that was creating ripples that would be moving outwards over the next, few weeks, few days, few months. So go and have a look at that, because it's a very, very interesting, and Alex explains about why people are so tired. People are massively tired over the last few days. And I think people are massively tired in general due to, of course, the emotional frequency and energy that is being generated by, of course, all of the turmoil around the world. Okay. Very, very interesting. Okay. Very, very interesting. Anyway, listen, ladies and gentlemen, that is it. That is it for tonight, the 14th of the 8th, 2026. All I can say, 40,000 feet, observe, do not get pulled into the bullshit, and of course, remain in what I call an unemotional state, which, of course, for many people is, of course, very, 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 very difficult to do. I went on a course once a long time ago, and it was about tempering. It was about tempering your emotion, and it wasn't about not having any emotion. It was about tempering it, which meant it was about observing the way that you felt. However, it wasn't about reacting to that observation or the feeling. It was about tempering your emotion. And this is one of the great things that people talk about in regards, of course, to meditation and and living a full and happy life, etc., etc. And my analogy of it is, as you well know, is stick yourself at 40,000 feet, watch what's going on, and of course, all will be revealed. Remember that karma is a 24-hour thing that goes on every single day, every single minute, every single hour. And you may or may not know, the Schumann resonance is absolutely through the roof at the moment, hence the reason why people are feeling like they are. I'm no different to you guys. I'm exactly the same. As you well know, I've just finished the 12-week project ish. Got a bit of snagging to do, a few more jobs, but the heat is off, so to speak. You know, I've spent a good majority of this week asleep, catching up 2 or 3 hours here, 3 hours there, 4 hours there. So, you know, it is, of course, the same for everybody. When we talk about energy, emotions, the Schumann resonance, and of course, we have to then take into consideration, of course, the energy on the planet that, of course, is rising. The energy on the planet that is also, and that energy, of course, has to go somewhere, because energy, as you well know, cannot be destroyed or created. Energy is energy. It just moves to be something completely different. So, on that note, ladies and gentlemen, okay. So on that note, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to get myself off. I'll see if I can find anything important to talk about tomorrow. Not quite sure. But anyway, listen, take care. Okay. Take care. Okay. Try and remember as much as what I've said as you can, and you probably won't take any notice anyway. But anyway, I've said it, so as long as I've said it, I'm quite happy to basically live with that. Remember, there are no coincidences, ladies and gentlemen. Just remember that, because it's important, okay? And not only is it important from a Fruit Nut News point of view and a world point of view, etc., it's also important for you personally to basically remember that. Now, Gary Waterman apparently is on tonight. You get a chance to listen to Gary. Good stuff on the Company's House thing, etc. It's all linked in. We know it's all linked in. And remember that each one of us is playing our part in a massive story. Okay, and it doesn't really matter whether you've got a big part or a small part. All parts are important. All parts are important. Okay. I happen to have a very gobby part, which means that I use my trap to basically, and this, of course, to basically get over complicated stuff. Gary Waterman, I'm being told, is on at 8:30 p.m. tonight on a live. So join him there. I might pop in as well. So as I always say, ladies and gentlemen, irrespective of whether you like me, whether you like Gary Waterman, whether you like Donald Trump, whether you like President Putin, we all have certain qualities that we are bringing to the table, and we all have certain messages that we are bringing to the table. Okay, and as a collective group of people, including all of you lot, okay, we are making this world change into something far, far better. So, good night. We'll see you all again soon. Cheers, mate.